Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to IO Radio with your hosts, Adam Smith, me, and Sal Bayat.
Hi, everybody.
All right, so, whew, I apologize in advance because for the last couple of days I have been watching all of the stuff at the Bitcoin Miami 2023 conference. Uh, this is not part of community service or some kind of punishment. I don't know
Are you
why I'm doing
sure?
it.
It seems like masochism.
It really, yeah, it's pretty depressing, but I am getting some moments of I'm getting some moments of comedy godel. By the way, did you see my draft that I sent to you?
I sure did. I liked it.
Really, you thought it was okay?
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, you could use a little bit more, narrative, tying stuff together, but some of the clips are awesome.
Yeah, so I'm basically taking little clips from all the different things of the show and putting them together completely out of context in many cases, and sometimes they are in context, um, making people say things that I find amusing. Although most of the words are, I mean, it's their words. There's no AI going on here.
You almost don't even need to change anything that they say.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. I did one last year by accident when I was working on the documentary. I was pouring through just looking for little snippets to use in the documentary, and there was so much batshit crazy stuff that I was like, "Holy shit! I got to make a little blooper reel from this convention." So I did that, and it ended up being pretty popular. So I'm going to do this one for this year, and there's just as much material to choose from. So we're just going to pick one of the conferences that I haven't seen. I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen this one?
I have not.
Okay. We're going to pick one of these conferences, and we're going to watch as much of it as we can stomach before we give up. We'll stop and comment along the way. And
I shouldn't have eaten before this.
well, I have a nice bottle of Washington State Cabernet that I'm enjoying right now, and hopefully that will temper my attitude a little bit.
That's yeah. I think it's best to watch these Bitcoin videos sedated.
Yeah, yeah. So I might need another wine break in a little bit. Yeah. By the way, if you are watching at home, you could play a drinking game whenever they say a logical fallacy or they make some vague generalization about Bitcoin is freedom, but you'd probably die of alcohol poisoning within about 20 minutes. So use caution. So what we've got here, we've just picked almost randomly this symposium here with these three guys. Um, do you want to introduce them, Sal, or you want me to?
Oh, sure. I mean, well, I don't know who the hell the guy on the left or the right are, but forgive me.
Guy in the
But
middle,
the guy in the middle is Adam Back, the co-founder, and I think he's CEO of Blockstream.
right?
And so they are a company that I guess they're involved with the Lightning Network. They're involved with a lot of technology that uses blockchain and leverages Bitcoin.
Yeah, Blockstream is obviously a centralized corporate entity for profit.
Based in Victoria, Canada,
That's
I
right.
believe.
They're
Yeah.
Canadian, yeah. And what's interesting is that if you look up contributors and people that give money to MIT's Digital Media Initiative, which is one of the organizations that's supposed
Digital currency
to
initiative.
Digital Currency Initiative. You're right. See, my wine's already affecting me. Um, there's a couple of organizations that provide grants to the Bitcoin core developers, and Blockstream is one of the big ones. One of the big ones. So they have a tremendous amount of influence and power over what happens to Bitcoin, what goes in the code. If you do more research, and this is in my documentary, I talk about this. That dude in the center there is probably one of the principal components of why there exists multiple forks of Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin Cash and BTC,
BSV.
BCH. No, now BSV is a different fork, but there's BCH, Bitcoin Cash,
Oh
and
yeah.
BTC. Um, Bitcoin Cash has a larger block size than Bitcoin and is technically able to scale better and has a faster transaction time, but it's not the dominant one. And why is that?
Well, Mr. Adam Back didn't want the block size to increase.
Why would he not want that, you think?
Oh, no, because he's altruistic and believes in democratic governance of the Bitcoin core.
And smaller blockchains, block sizes contribute to that?
Well, one would assume that Bitcoin is freedom. So,
Well, okay. Well, my theory is that he wants Bitcoin's blockchain to be slower because, ta-da, him and this dude over here have a L2 solution called Lightning Network that they are hyping. So the slower and more foggy Bitcoin's base level is, the more these guys can hawk their solution to it.
are you implying that someone involved in the crypto community could be self-interested?
I know it sounds completely far-fetched. Yeah. But I would encourage people to do their own research. This is only my research after a couple of years and looking into it. And you can see the documentary Blockchain Innovation or Illusion. You can find out more information. So let's just, before we get into it, I don't even know what these guys are going to say yet, but I Googled them as much as I can. So let's pull up who we know. So we've got one of the guys. His name is, Matt Odell. He's the guy on the right, I believe. He is big into Lightning Network, I believe. And he's a partner at this thing we made fun of in the last thing.
He's a partner at
1031.
He's a partner at Crime in Progress.
Yes, 1031. 1031 is the police code for crime in progress. So it looks like this company is, I guess, a venture capital firm. It's just a shell that dumps money into anybody else that's doing this. Presumably, the vast majority of this money looks like it's gone to 99 Designs for various logo creations. I'd say that's a good $400 or $500 worth of money spent right there to have some fancy looking logos and stuff. I've never heard of any of these companies, but who knows? It does look impressive, building the future infrastructure, which again, 1031 is the police code for crime in progress. So, is that an accident?
Telling on themselves.
Kind of like Bored Apes use a bunch of Nazi imagery in their stuff. That was that. I mean, it's hard to, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Odell.
The other guy is Jack Mallers. Oh, this is the Lightning guy, I think.
Oh, he's in the Forbes 30 under 30, so that means he's going to be in jail soon.
Yeah, right. Well, he's already kind of dressing for mugshots, but Zap Solutions. It's very hard to find much on this guy. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page. This is the only thing that really kind of came up on him, I think. So I guess we'll learn about him. Adam Back is pretty well known. He created Hashcash. He's actually got a degree in computer science and stuff. So he knows his stuff. Presumably he's just, in it for the money, or really does believe,
Well, that's what we should call out. All three of these people have a financial interest in what they're about to discuss.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's jump into it. This video is 45 minutes long. There is no way we're going to last that long. We're going to see how far we can get, and let's just, if you want to say something, say pause, and I'll stop, and then we'll roll with it.
Let's do it.
Has anyone been to Nashville before?
So they're moving the Bitcoin conference to Nashville next year from Miami.
I have to say, I'm personally very excited about the move. I'm pretty sure Nashville is going to be the Bitcoin capital of the world.
Yeah.
Why?
I know Jack knows I put a little bit of effort into that.
Yeah, arguably already is, buddy.
That's a whole nother
So we're up
cringy
here
topic.
to talk about hyper-Bitcoinization. We're up here to talk about why we're bullish on Bitcoin.
Ooh, I like
I
this
know
topic already.
personally, Bitcoin is
Why you're bullish on Bitcoin, This can be answered in 10 seconds by simply showing how many Bitcoins you own, each of you. And that's it.
It's a tech project, right? It's an open source project. It's code. But it's easy to get lost in that. To me, the most bullish part about Bitcoin is the individuals that make it happen. It's a movement of individuals.
Can I just say something? I'm really getting tired of them appropriating stock terminology, right? They claim Bitcoin is a commodity. It's not a stock. It's not a security. It's not an investment. But they just love to say bullish or bearish, right? And that's a stock term, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, they're going to do whatever they can to get more people to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So
whether that's strong grassroots local Bitcoin communities, like we're seeing in Nashville and other places in the world,
Bitcoin.
whether that's the open source contributors.
The only thing this dude is missing is a
which we're very
CB
proud to
radio.
support here at the
Getting
conference
lost in his
with the open
mustache.
source stage and the open source contributor ticket program. We gave over 150 tickets to open source contributors.
Yeah. Oh, you're so charitable.
Breaker 19, there's a Smokey in
And
the
while
air.
I'm on that topic, I just wanted to do a huge shout out to Jack Dorsey, who gave $10 million to OpenSats.
There's another lovely
Founder of Twitter,
individual
who's a crazy Bitcoiner.
and a beautiful
Or whether
human
that's
being.
the founders
Yeah,
that help build
look
the
him up.
companies that help push the Bitcoin network forward and make it more robust. And I'm very fortunate to be joined by two of our great founders here. We have Adam Back from Blockstream.
Who some believe is actually Satoshi Nakamoto. Some people believe he's the guy.
Well,
And we
if
have
he
Jack
is, then he owe me a
Mallers from
beer.
Strike.
Not because I think that he is, but because that would prove he had a financial interest.
So guys, I mean, I don't know how many of you were here in Miami last year, but it's been a long year. It's been a long year. There's been a lot of rug pulls. I hope not too many of you lost your money on FTX or BlockFi or Celsius.
I'm going to cut that. There's been a lot of rug pulls. You know, I'm looking for little snippets for my thing. So
I mean, it's good. It's a good strategy, though, to acknowledge the scams and the frauds that are in crypto. It's a very smart. It's a very savvy thing to do.
well, you
for this
have to.
audience.
It's the big elephant in the room, and then
Yeah.
then you start talking about freedom to
Yes.
distract them.
Or Silicon Valley Bank, or Signature Bank, or Silvergate Bank, or First Republic
Oh.
Bank.
Oh
Trying
yeah,
to- yeah. I see where he's going.
yeah. A funny thing is most of those companies had their tendrils into crypto. But most
So
of those banks.
It's not that FTX is a con because everything in crypto is a scam and you always need a greater fool. There's no underlying cash flow. Listen, banks fail in the fiat system. We're no different.
But when banks fail in the fiat system, interesting thing, in America, nobody loses their money. Your depositors are guaranteed because the government sweeps in.
Under
But in-
250K.
I think 97%, and I recently got into a debate about this. 97% of those people that had over 250K still didn't lose any money. It's very, very rare when a
Yeah.
depositor loses money.
Well, what's interesting is they have services. There are brokerage services where if you have $100 million, you give it to a company and they'll put it into individual bank accounts with no more than 250,000,
Yeah.
so that you can still get the FDIC insurance even though you have 100 million.
I've done that. That's a whole nother story for another time. But yes.
There you go.
Hopefully not too many more banks before Nashville next year. But we were talking a little bit. And Bitcoin is scarce. Bitcoin is scarce. If you don't hold your own keys, what kind of situation are you in? You're in a situation where you might not hold Bitcoin. So Adam, let's start with that as a topic point.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bitcoin is
He looks at his
interesting
nails.
to many people for many reasons.
he's so busy
but
being
one
cool.
of the differentiated properties of it is that it's unseizer and bearer and gives you, optionality and self-sovereignty. And as people get more immersed into Bitcoin, they tend to find that a pretty exciting and novel key part of Bitcoin.
This is almost the same thing he said last year. I know because I edited it, but money without masters, sovereign, bearer.
And so one of the, there are all these different metrics posted online these days, and one that scrolled past that caught my eye in the last couple of days was somebody put together some Glassnode data to estimate that there were that there were 1 million UTXOs with one Bitcoin or over. And so somebody who owns a Bitcoin, one Bitcoin is a whole coiner, right? And so there are lots of people trying to stack their sats and get to this one Bitcoin target. And so, there's this claim, right? Okay, we estimate there's 1 million whole coiners. And so my kind of immediate thing, well, that's cool, it's nice they reached their target, but let's go, let's get to 10 million whole coiners. And then it dawned on me that that's probably not possible, because the next 9 million people who try to buy Bitcoin will push the price out of reach for them to reach that target, to reach their threshold.
You better buy in now, or you ain't going to be able to get one.
Get to 1 million, to get to a whole coiner status.
And who gives a shit whether you're a whole coiner or not? What does that mean? Is there anybody going around saying, no, you need $10,000 in your account or you're nobody? Until you get $10,000, until you're a 10,000er.
Well, it's just that he's saying that, listen, the people that have one Bitcoin in the future, those are like the people that have $30 million now.
Yeah.
So by not buying a Bitcoin right now, it's like you're letting millions and millions of dollars go. So go and buy Bitcoin.
This is, what this is? This is not any different from the MLM guy saying, okay, look, I know the platinum package costs $29,000, but do you know how few people have the platinum package in the company?
Only 2% of
those people
get to
know
the
something.
Package.
Yeah, you need that platinum package. Your bronze package, okay, but what you really want, you want to shoot for that emerald diamond level, the platinum level. That's it. This is just the same thing as an MLM where they create these tiers to try to encourage people to spend more money.
Somebody else chimed into this kind of organic thread to say, maybe we're at or very near to peak whole coiners, like the maximum number of people who will ever be able to accumulate a single Bitcoin. And I thought that was a pretty interesting kind of a bullish metric.
Now this fucker is a goddamn computer scientist, and here he is talking like a pyramid scheming salesman.
He's a fucking huckster, what he is.
That really, as somebody who is a computer scientist who has a degree in computing and all that, I'm fucking pissed off at this dude. That go sell cars.
That's why they don't teach ethics at Stanford, or at least they didn't. To their comp sci people.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, you would think it's cool.
I mean, that's 1 million UTXOs that hold a Bitcoin.
Or more, yeah.
But most people have multiple UTXOs in their wallet.
Yeah.
All right, so let's 1 million UTXOs that hold a Bitcoin. The other side of that coin, and what they mean by UTXOs, I guess, is wallets, right?
Well, yeah, they mean transactions where there's an output to a wallet address that has more than one Bitcoin, or a Bitcoin or more.
What that says to me, that's not a good thing, right? That's wealth concentration. If there's only 21 million Bitcoin in existence and 1 million people have one whole Bitcoin, just that metric right there probably is a greater wealth concentration than any other monetary system in any major country. People talk about what's
wrong with wealth concentration.
Well,
that's good. That's good for the economy, right?
Wealth concentration is what the impetus behind all this is, right? Is powerful special interest. Nobody wants any powerful special interest yanking their chain. And what's going to get you powerful influence more than anything else than having a disproportionate amount of money than other people?
I mean, the other thing is, like, who cares that there are a million unspent transaction outputs with more than one Bitcoin? People hide Bitcoin in a myriad of ways. There might be somebody with, I don't know, that could be a million people, or it could be, I don't know,
right, 3 people with 400,000 wallets. You can easily write a program to take your, 20,000 Bitcoin and spread them into different wallets.
So maybe they did the math to determine these are all individual, unique people, but
No. Of course they didn't. No, They're not even making that claim. They're just saying there's 1 million wallets with a Bitcoin or more. And I'm saying, even if those did belong to 1 million individuals, that's significant concentration of wealth that is worse than anything in the American fiat system.
Yeah.
This is the thing that bugs me. When they talk about like third world countries adopting Bitcoin, like Nigeria or Zimbabwe or, El Salvador, why would you adopt a monetary system where some anonymous strange person might own like 80% of the value of your system? It just makes absolutely no sense. It's almost like you're just giving all the power and influence of your economy to some random people.
That's exactly what you're doing. Like it's ridiculous. It's stupid. Yeah. So even in El Salvador, where they supposedly adopted Bitcoin, they haven't really.
Right.
So yeah, that's all just marketing.
Oh, we can go off on tangents here, but yeah, this is.
It's a very loose metric, so it might be plus minus 25% accurate. There are some people who...
On the downside, there's probably significantly less than 1 million whole coiners.
Well, I mean, it depends on your definition, but there are lots of smaller users who leave their coins on crypto exchanges, and I think you would argue they don't really own a Bitcoin, they own an IOU.
Yeah, they're not Bitcoiners.
Right. So, not your keys, not your coins, but yeah.
I think people learned that the hard way this year. I think it's important not to get caught up on how much Bitcoin you necessarily own. I think, the first sats you stack are the most important, but then after that, you can never have too many, right? It's just trying to accumulate as much as possible. That's been my strategy. Jack,
so buy in, guys.
And that's also why I think people will be thinking sats and not Bitcoin. But Jack, at Strike...
This is not any different than an evangelist going, okay, I know you only make $400 a week or a month, but if you give $397 instead of $400, Jesus, there's that little bit more you could give.
He'll pay it back tenfold.
He will.
Just got to give it time. We're early.
I think you don't get enough credit that you make it extremely easy for people to self-custody. You want to talk about how that is a fundamental of the
This guy is shaking
product?
quite a bit.
Sure. I
noticed
think
that,
it's fundamental to the innovation that is Bitcoin. Without the ability to self-custody, it's one of the reasons gold hasn't been as successful as humanity needed it to be. One of the coolest things
Did humanity
about Bitcoin,
need gold to be
in
successful?
my opinion, and one of the biggest differences with gold is we built Bitcoin. Humans engineered it to be perfect as far as we've understood money. Gold, we found gold.
Like God.
And we decided that it was the best of all the things we found.
It's perfect, 4.7 transactions a second.
Just pause for 1 second. Because as people are listening to this, I really want you to focus on the language they use in the terminology and how religious it is. Mm-hmm. So the same kind of thing. Bitcoin is perfect, just like God is perfect. You can't argue with the rules given by God because they're a perfect being, just like Nakamoto was. And the gift he bestowed upon us was also perfect.
And also notice the ambiguity, right? They make a lot of very vague claims that are not specific. Because if they make a very specific claim, you could test it to show whether it's true or false. But as long as they say stuff like Bitcoin is perfect or it's freedom, that's not something you can qualify and say and prove that it's bullshit.
You can't quantify it. That's for sure.
The whole convention. This is the one recurring theme. I've been collecting all the weird jingoistic cliches, and it's just never ending. All the different ways in which they repeat the same 11 talking points.
Or to precious metals we found, but Bitcoin we were able to engineer to be digital and bearer, and so that we can custody it ourselves, which is a tremendous property so that it does not get concentrated with nation states or with any corporation.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, let's drill down into this whole self-custody argument, right? What actual custody? Look, if when I was doing my documentary, I talked about self-custody, and one of the things I actually did was I got a big wad of money and I went into my front yard and I dug a fucking hole and took a picture of me burying this jar of money in my front yard to demonstrate that's self-custody too, because people say if you don't, not your keys, not your coins, right? So if anybody who gets their shit hacked, it's their own fault for clicking on the wrong thing or this to lose their money. Well, you know what? That's called the nirvana fallacy. When you say, oh, as long as you do everything right with Bitcoin, you'll have all your Bitcoin. But you know what? I could do the same thing with fiat. I could take my money and bury it in my front yard, and I have self-custody of it. And as long as I don't tell anybody where it is and I don't let somebody dig up my front yard, it's perfectly fucking safe. But the difference is somebody can't steal my fiat from 2,000 miles away because I clicked on the wrong thing in a browser. So burying money, even keeping it under your mattress is probably a safer way of custody. Whereas with these guys, their idea of self-custody is on the Bitcoin network, which requires thousands of computers, internet, and all that just to even exist.
Yeah, it exists, but the self-custody they're talking about is, of course, your private key.
But they're also making assumptions that this network is going to be there forever, and there's thousands of cryptocurrencies that are gone.
Whereas if I bury gold in my front yard, it's just there.
It's not going anywhere, and I don't need a bunch of miners and weird people with computers to keep that thing existing.
If you really think society is going to collapse and everything's going to go to shit and the apocalypse is going to come, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the internet probably won't work and your Bitcoin is going to be worthless. If you really truly believe that, then you should be figuring out, I don't know, get some land, learn how to farm, have a machine shop so you can, machine tools.
Yep.
You can do some metalworking. Those are the things you really want to be like. Effectively, all money will be worthless at that point, and people will barter with food because that'll be the most important commodity.
Yeah.
So what are we really talking about here? It blows me away where they take probably one of the Bitcoin's greatest weaknesses, which is the fact that it is so easy to lose your money, and they present it as though that is its strength.
Right. Well, that's one of the propaganda things 101, right?
And sorry, I should correct myself.
Accentuate the negative.
I say money, but of course I'm using that not in actual, because of course Bitcoin isn't money, but they pretend as though this is some great feature of Bitcoin, and it's really isn't.
Yeah. All right.
And can get rehypothecated, and that the supply and the issuance and the inflation rate and the actual market demand can be configured and misconstrued and manipulated. And so as a company and as a founder that really just wants this thing to work more than anything in the world, it was a first principle to us selling it is as soon as you start writing code is if I'm going to sell this thing, how quick and how easy can I help people get it off and get it to their custody? Because it is one of the most important properties of the instrument.
I just want to stop right here real quick. So I guess that's an El Salvadorian flag he's got on his hat, right?
Yes.
So everybody's a big booster for El Salvador, and I guess I haven't dug up any details, but I'm sure if I dug up like human rights and democracy and personal freedoms of the El Salvadorian people, I have a feeling they are not ranked super duper high. These guys are all like huge boosters of El Salvador simply because of this Bitcoin connection, right?
Well, let's just look up a good metric right here. Let's look up El Salvador press.
Well, do we want to go off on this tangent? It'll be a homework assignment for anybody listening. The three people are our three loyal listeners. Look up El Salvador because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of really crazy things that these people don't give a flying fuck about as long as El Salvador is promoting their Bitcoin Ponzi scheme. There's no consistency to their respect for human freedom. You know what I mean?
In 2023, the Press Freedom Index of El Salvador stood at 51.36, down more than 20 points from the 76.34 score recorded in 2015. So yeah, I think it's fair to say that they aren't doing well.
All right, so that's their score. What's the United States' score?
That's the press freedom. That's press freedom for U.S. I have to look this up.
Yeah, so there's metrics there, right? If El Salvador is so awesome, of course, this is probably evil centralized entities that make up these things, like Amnesty International, which you can't trust because they're a single organization.
The World Press Freedom Index. Okay, Norway is at the top because
it's so cold,
Norway
nobody
and
goes up there.
Sweden
They
and
don't
Denmark.
even test that.
They have a good social system. Okay, where is the US? Where are you, United States? I mean, you guys are full of propaganda. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, but I don't think we're executing a lot of reporters.
You guys are 71.
Okay.
So you're 71, whereas El Salvador is 50, whereas Canada is 83.
Oh.
Bam.
All right.
I mean, we're not even close to the top 10, but hey.
Save some room for me in your condo when the shit hits the fan. All right, I'm going to let this play for a little bit because I'm going to refresh my wine.
All right.
So I don't know. I hope customers like that, but as a business and as a founder and as an individual, it was from day one importance, of course.
Well, I mean, you crunched some numbers on that. I remember we were talking when everything was going to shit. Well, maybe it's still going to shit. But when all the banks were failing and we were talking about third-party risk and custodial risk, you crunched some numbers on how much self-custody was done on the platform.
Yeah, we have a particular type of customer, I would say. So I wouldn't use these numbers generically through the whole industry, but I know my own numbers and I can speak to them. On the lower bound in a given month, I would say around 80% withdrawal almost immediately after purchase, and then in an upper bound during the FTX situation, we were over 95% as high as immediately withdrawal. So the amount of Bitcoin that we custody on behalf of our customers is minuscule on a ratioed percentage basis than probably a lot of the other crypto, shitcoin exchanges. And I think it hopefully says a lot about what we're trying to do and what we're trying to serve to customers, but then I also think it says who we attract and what we stand for, and that I don't know how many customers I share with FTX. If you had an FTX account, you probably didn't like a lot of the things I had to say about them. So, yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's another aspect of owning Bitcoin is that potentially coins that you can acquire without any history, so coins that you can purchase that nobody knows you own, are kind of more valuable, right? Because if somebody doesn't know you own this pocket of coins, then that's your insurance policy. Something that you've bought on an exchange, done wire transfers or debit card payments, there's a big history and everybody knows you have it and they'll sweat you,
Interesting concept, which not enough talk happens about it. Or, you know what I'm talking about, right?
In terms of actually getting robbed in real life of your Bitcoin?
No, I mean the notion that there's different types of Bitcoin that have different value. That if you have crypto that is clean, like hasn't gone through an exchange or a Bitcoin washer, it's probably more valuable than crypto that came off of one of these exchanges, because
yeah, I could see that.
There's companies like Chain Analysis and other stuff where they're keeping track of the flow of crypto. Since it's a public blockchain, you can see where all the crypto has traveled. And if some crypto passes through a wallet of something a wallet that's tied to sanctions violations or dark money or criminal activity, that crypto is tainted. And all of these exchanges, they have their own blacklists. Even Tether has their own blacklist where they'll refuse to redeem crypto that ends up on this list, assuming they redeem anything. But that is something that very few people talk about. And I think that's one of the main reasons why a lot of these early developers are so gung-ho, because they've got that original, Bitcoin that was just mined. And that's also, I think, why a lot of the mining companies attribute higher value to the crypto. Why, they want that clean crypto, because in the future it may be, assuming Bitcoin lasts that long, that there's going to be dirty crypto.
Yeah, I think that's an important insight. Certainly, I think
nobody talks about it right now because they don't want people that are buying Bitcoin to ask, where did this Bitcoin come from that I'm buying? Because the stuff that your common person is going to be able to get could very well have come from one of these mixers or from a shady exchange, and it could end up being blacklisted.
Well, if some of these crypto propagandists get their way and they're able to deregulate, I mean, what we're going to see, they're going to say, listen, if you're an institutional investor, you need to hold Bitcoin, and you want to hold clean Bitcoin.
Right.
And guess what? I have some of that you can buy.
Yeah. I also
Buy it at
think
a
that's one of the
premium.
reasons why when like the government seizes like crypto and auctions it off, it's actually at a premium, because if you can show that your crypto came from a government auction, then you know it might have been tied to dark money before, but it's clean now.
Interesting.
Yep.
Hand it over. But if they don't know you have it, that's your insurance policy. And it's relatively difficult to do that, but there are cash transactions.
So he's
and various
basically
loopholes
promoting
and ways to get
tax
more information
evasion
out of Bitcoin
and
with
money
less
laundering.
tracking. So I think that's an interesting thing to try to do, to try and keep at least a little bit of Bitcoin that has no connectivity into the financial records of the financial system.
Damn
How
right.
do you? So how do you do that? How do you keep Bitcoin that has no connection anywhere?
You mine it, or you buy it with cash from someone who has Bitcoin.
But wherever that Bitcoin came from is tracked on the blockchain.
I mean, assuming, like, let's say they have.
It might not
50
be traced to you, but it could be traced to somebody else. And if you try to use it,
Well, no,
it's a
if
very
you mined
complicated
it, if you mined
situation.
it in the early days.
Yeah, but yeah,
and
if
you
only
have,
in the
and you have
early
the private
days.
key. Hey, listen, you pay me for 50 Bitcoin, I'll give you my private key, and you have this wallet with 50 Bitcoin in it.
It's almost like Bitcoin. If I don't know about you, but I don't think Bitcoin is going to be even around in 5 more years. But if you want to talk about what could happen in the future with Bitcoin if it continues to grow, I see this kind of dark market of clean, big dude. I got the fucking cleanest Bitcoin. You want this shit? It's 100% pure. Didn't pass through Binance. Didn't pass through Coinbase. It's the fucking shit, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to make a prediction in terms of time horizon. I mean, I want it to go away, but this thing is self-perpetuating because of how it aligns financial incentives and
Yeah.
self-interest. So it's hard to say.
And we just saw last episode that the fossil fuel companies are embracing this because it's a nice little smokescreen to get them to continue to operate at 100%.
Yeah, increased consumption.
There's some guides to that effect at nokyconly.com. Also, just huge shout out to
No, I don't know if I would go to that. That's a great way of losing. They just talked about not your keys, not your thing.
Peach Bitcoin,
Yeah.
Hodl Hodl, Bisq, Azteco. These are all different tools that you can use to.
They're all different tools that I have a funny feeling this dude Matt Odell might have partial ownership of.
No, I mean, I who knows about that? But what he's certainly doing is telling you how to get Bitcoin on a decentralized exchange. Now, many of these decentralized exchanges, if I'm not mistaken, like I think with Bisq, I'm pretty sure you have to convert some fiat. You have to buy their token with what you can pay on your credit card, or maybe there's other ways to get the money, and then you can use that Bisq to potentially buy Bitcoin.
Until they rug pull, that is.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bisq has been around for a while, but ultimately they are trying to promote more people.
Until they get shut down for sanctions violations.
Listen, they just want exit liquidity. Just let the guy try to get some exit liquidity.
I'm sorry.
Get no KYC Bitcoin. I think people should be aware of the risk of KYC Bitcoin, and people should be aware that essentially you're on a list of Bitcoin ownership and how much Bitcoin you own. So thanks for bringing that up, Adam. I'm curious, guys. We have a friend, a mutual friend, Parker Lewis. He always says gradually, then suddenly. I want to check my bias a little bit. Some of you might be aware, not this conference, but last conference, I might have said 200K by conference day. We didn't get 200K by conference day.
Good. Look, watch that guy's hands. You're right. He's got some tremors happening. Is it withdrawal or is it something else?
May could just be nervous.
But also in 2019 in San Francisco at Bitcoin 2019, on the roof of that conference.
Oh man, he's tremor. Is it
He could just be
nerves
cold.
really?
He could just be shivering. Like it might be air conditioned to hell.
Well, then now you'd see his nipples, right? we have left the fucking building, man.
Wait, hold on. Like zoom in on the bottom right quadrant.
Enhance, magnify.
Yeah.
People are going to be watching this on like really low res phone shit and not go, what the fuck are they talking about?
Told everybody there to open their phone and buy some Bitcoin, and we hit a top of 13,500. We didn't breach that top for 2.5 years. So I got egg on my face on that one. That was a long time ago. Got egg in my face on 200K by conference day. But I'm constantly, since I've been in Bitcoin,
I respect him for at least pointing it out, though.
FOMO's in the back of my head that at any moment you can wake up in the morning, there's just a massive green candle, and then the true scarcity of self-custody Bitcoin, of actual Bitcoin, really becomes apparent.
Yeah, that's a religious thing here.
That way, or is it?
Look, you know, just keep
It
believing.
could go to $1 million tomorrow. It could go to $1 million tomorrow.
You know, tomorrow could be the day Jesus shows up and says, "Are you worthy?"
Am I just a crazy?
It's like the people who play slots.
If you think about it from a certain point of view, not owning Bitcoin is being short Bitcoin. And so being short Bitcoin makes me very scared.
I'm very short Bitcoin. I don't know about you, Sal.
I'm pretty short. Pretty short on Bitcoin.
Yep.
So it makes it very hard for me to hold on to any fiat whatsoever. And I think that's actually a kind of, and many people get that way. They get more immersed in it, their allocation gets bigger, they start stacking sats, they start cutting back expenses, they start selling things. And so yeah, I think that, being out of Bitcoin is the risk. Most people have their portfolio mentality. We don't have the unit of account yet, but we do have the unit of portfolio account or investment account.
Hold on, it's like Pascal's wager all over again, right?
This is really disturbing.
It's
You have a
Pascal's
computer
wager.
scientist here saying this stuff.
He's basically saying, listen, you could be wrong. So why not just buy a little bit? Because, if you're...
He's not just saying that. He's saying you should literally reduce the quality of your life, cut your expenses so you can buy more useless fucking digital tokens. It's really just egregious. It's just fucking evil. There's a lot of people out there that have expenses and have bills to pay, and they're just trying to get by. And this fucker right here, who's probably sitting on top of a huge stash because he's been involved in crypto since the very fucking beginning, he probably has
He's at the
thousands
top
of
of the pyramid.
Bitcoins, thousands of them. This fucker is talking about people stacking sats. I bet you he has not bought a Bitcoin in 10 fucking years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's a good question.
This is
How many
what's so
Bitcoin have you
offensive.
bought, Adam, back? How much are you allocating?
Yeah,
How much
they're
are
not
you
gonna ask
cutting
him.
back?
Yeah. It's just, and why? Why stack them? Why stack them? If it's the fucking future, just let it fucking happen, because because the objective here for all these people is get rich, get rich, get rich. Grab this shit, hold on to it, buy your Lambo.
Well, it's because them getting rich depends on other people putting in more cash. Because if this was a stock where you had a company that actually did something and made a bunch of money, if you knew their business was going to be successful, if you knew they were making a great product, you wouldn't necessarily tell anyone. You wouldn't care.
Right.
You'd just be getting as much for
Right.
yourself as possible. Why are these guys always propagandizing and telling you need to buy more Bitcoin? Is it because they're so altruistic, or is it because they want you to pump their bags?
Right. If Bitcoin is absolutely going to go to 200,000 in a couple of years, then what the last thing in the world you'd want is to encourage other people to buy it. You'd want to buy it and just let it happen.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
so full of shit.
Yeah.
It
see what
reminds
else.
me a lot of just dropped right out of my head when I was going to say it. But there's so many parallels to the whole religious thing where you're just encouraging people to just suffer now because there's going to be a big payoff later. And I
just believe, because if you believe and heaven exists, then you're all good. But if you don't believe, well then, and God is real, then you're gonna go to hell forever. So it seems like, why not just buy some Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Because what happens if it goes to $1 million?
So I remember another thing as I'm going through all of this footage of the conference. There's a couple of recurring themes that keep popping up. One of them is that like half of these people have a fucking book they've written about Bitcoin, and so they can't talk 20 seconds without referencing the book that they've written. Which, by the way, on Amazon, it's like in the business economy, alternative monetary section, it's been in the top 10 for the last year. It's funny that they're all hawking slightly, other ways of making money while they're talking about Bitcoin as a way of making money. It's just revealing.
Who get very immersed in it, switch to thinking about their portfolio, about how many Bitcoin they have, and so they get pretty calm if the price corrects 50%, 75%, as long as they got the same number of Bitcoin, they don't care, right? So you can see that mental shift has come over.
What bullshit is that?
Like, I think
He's
the
like,
actual question
you think
you
they bought
asked
it?
is, do I think of it that way?
Do you like stay up at night sometimes? And you're like,
well,
I don't have enough Bitcoin.
I like what Adam was saying.
Like he's going to
I
answer
guess
that honestly.
I could strip naked on the stage and sell this for some more Bitcoin. I don't get that nervous, but I know.
Who wants to see Jack do that?
He looks like one of the Beastie Boys, doesn't he?
He looks like he's
no.
not even 30.
What I wanted to say though is I don't think the world knows how to price something that's definitively scarce, that's engineered.
Definitively scarce. All right. I need to have a sound effect for like my bullshit detector going off, like something like that. Definitively scarce.
Well, why don't you explain to the crowd why is that bullshit?
Do we really need to?
Probably
do we really
not.
Need to? I mean, just because you say something is scarce doesn't mean it is scarce. I mean, we can make scarce things all the time. There's Beanie Babies that are rarer than Bitcoin. Certainly not 21 million Squealer the Pigs. You heard it from me. That's the tip, by the way. This is not plush advice, but maybe it is.
Oh, man.
Have a finite supply. I grew up in the Chicago trading markets. I grew up with a phrase that demand finds supply. If gold is going to go up enough, it will get to a price where people are willing to knock the gold out of their mouth to go sell it, or rip their house out of the ground to dig under and find new gold bars. The price of gold and the demand of gold actually defines its issuance rate and the supply. If gold is in enough demand, as Elon Musk said, there's probably outer space you can go find more.
I'm not sure.
There are two
I'm not sure that's correct.
He quoted Elon Musk, so it must be brilliant, right?
Like at a certain point, no. Like gold might be under your house. I'm not sure people are going to rip up their house based on that.
This guy's knowledge of economics and finance is unrivaled only by his knowledge of geology.
Things
that
I'm aware of in life that are definitively scarce is, one, my time on this planet, is I will die someday.
Yeah, that's one thing we both can agree on. Time is scarce. And it's times like this when I question whether I'm using the time on this planet wisely.
Yeah.
All I can hope is somebody out there just send me a little DM saying, all right, I was going to take my grandma's money and put it into crypto, but you helped me. That would give me a little bit of hope. That's all I'm asking. Just somebody recognize this is absurd and just don't fucking do something stupid.
A bunch of charlatans on stage trying to take your money.
And that's one of the only things, as of right now, I can absolutely guarantee.
And I want to also add one thing. Like, we're watching people that are trying to convince you to believe something. And me and Sal, we're doing the same thing. We're trying to convince you to believe something. So there's a battle of ideologies there, right? There's these people in Miami that are trying to get you to believe one thing, and me and Sal are trying to get you to believe another. But the difference is we are not going to profit by convincing you that Bitcoin, you shouldn't put your life savings into it. Those people there will profit by convincing you. So just, think about that. That's all I'm going to say.
The only other thing is that there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. And so the only thing that I mentally compartmentalize on how to reference, how to price this thing, is how much I value my life. And it's why I take care of my body, and it's why I build relationships that I love, and it's why I do the things I do, and to try and think about how to then carry that level of energy and finite capability into a monetary instrument. I don't know how the world's going to price it.
You notice that part of his whole life philosophy, there's nothing there about making the world a better place or helping other people. It's all about himself.
Okay, I'm going to give you a little trick, guys, in terms of if you want to be able to spot bullshit and people who are lying to you and trying to take advantage of you. And I've had this happen to me several times. People will tell you something. They'll say, "Hey, I have this new thing, and you should totally believe in it." So they will tell you something that is true, something that is relatable, something that is believable, something that you can connect with.
Right.
So he's saying time is scarce. He builds relationships with people. He loves those people.
I could relate to that.
Right? He tries to use his time wisely, and then they're going to tell you
makes sense to
something.
me.
The next thing, right? So it's a bait and switch.
Sal wouldn't lie to me.
Same playbook. Yeah. So I remember there's somebody I knew who wanted me to believe in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and to prove to me that it was true and that they could actually look at someone speaking and tell if they were lying. They said, well, no, NLP is true. It gives you these abilities. If you study it, you can look at someone talking to you, and if they look into this corner, if they look up and to the left, you know that they're lying to you. And the way to demonstrate to me that this was correct was they said, hey, do this self-assessment and answer these questions. And the questions were very much like they were leading questions where they're multiple choice. And based on the answer, you knew exactly what you were describing. And it just was a way of administering this test and pretending as though, see, look, NLP told you the result that you agree with, but it was just a self-evaluation. So you just got the result that you wanted. Sorry, I'm not explaining this very well, but it's just something that drives me crazy when people try to tell you something like, okay, that's reasonable, that's true, and then they go off on a tangent. They tell you a lie in the next sentence. Did I put you to sleep, Adam?
Sorry, I had my mic turned off. But
sorry, we're gonna have to edit that part out because that wasn't very good.
No. I thought no.
Didn't think that was good.
No, I disagree. I thought it was a very good explanation, Sal, and I think it makes perfect sense. It's also the same dynamic, for example, that makes people believe horoscopes, right? When you tell somebody some vague ambiguities that they can relate to, especially if it's positive about themselves, and they want to believe it, they'll lock on to that, and then you can hit them with, the suggestion that you really want to program into their head.
Yeah, I remember. That reminds me. Yeah, they were asking you, they were trying to figure out what kind of learner you were. And it was you're like an auditory learner, a visual learner, and there are two other types. And of course, the answers you give is sort of the answer that you want. Like if you're a really great musician, you probably want to identify that you're an auditory learner. And so at the end, they say, see, it works. And then they said, and not only can it do this, but it can tell you if people are lying to you.
Yeah.
And that just is a logical jump.
Now, what's interesting about the crypto people is they're nowhere near as sophisticated as your typical televangelist or even network marketer. Those people have been doing this for decades and decades, and in the case of religion, for hundreds of thousands of years. They've got their game really nicely polished. It's fun to watch the crypto people kind of fumble along and discover some of these concepts. So we're pointing out things that are just standard play. It's really a shame, P.T. Barnum isn't around because he'd be going, look at these amateurs,
And it's going to be complicated, and it's going to be volatile, and sometimes it's going to be war-esque because there are nation states involved. But I mean, I couldn't
What?
be more bullish under that pretense. For everything else in your life, guys, there will be more supply if there's enough demand. There could
If
be
you say it
all
with
the
enough
demand in the world,
conviction,
and
it
nobody can
doesn't
create more
matter
Bitcoin
if
in
the
the same
words
way
you're
we can't
stringing
live
together
forever.
make
And
no
so,
fucking
yeah,
sense.
I'm really, really fucking
Hey,
bullish. I don't
no
know
matter
how
what
the
happens,
world's
you're going to have
price
more
it.
of everything except Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And people
That
applaud
got me going.
for that
Time is the only
bullshit.
thing more scarce than Bitcoin, period.
Time is the only thing more scarce than Bitcoin. I love that quote. I would cut it out, except I think it got drowned out by the audience claps, which is unfortunate because that's a great bullshit line.
So, yeah, I mean, I would say about the kind of being nervous about being out. So when I was saying, not being all in Bitcoin, feels like that is the risk, right? And so whenever people sell,
Not being all in Bitcoin feels like the risk.
I just like to point out that,
This is a fucking computer scientist saying this shit.
yeah.
Well, I guess we have to say he's no longer a computer scientist anymore.
Well, I want to go back to that time comment. I mean, time is actually a lot less scarce, isn't it? The universe is going to be around for trillions of years.
Yeah, but your time isn't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Although I'm sure I got 21 million units of time somewhere.
Well, a billion seconds is 30 years. So there you go.
Bitcoin, like if I have some dollars because I've traded something, I'm nervous. Like I wake up in the morning to one of these, 1,000K or 10,000K candles, right? So I'm like super nervous to get back.
Right? You got a few dollars in your pocket. You wake up. You're worried that you could have put those dollars into Bitcoin and you didn't. Jesus, this is bad.
And
Well-
effectively, it's statistically the case, right? So people, when they
What we're looking at here, folks, is a human centipede of Bitcoin propaganda, right? These guys picture them in a circle, just feeding each other bullshit. In one end, out the other. And this is what happens when it starts to just continually digest and become more liquid and more just shallow. And
start messing around with trading until they learn not to do that, people have looked at the data, and if you take out the 12 biggest, highest gains days in a year, Bitcoin loses money year on year. So what you're really gambling is, if you're not all in Bitcoin, that you're going to somehow magically pick the days when this doesn't happen, and the odds are against you. So it's dangerous to not be in rather
it's
than out.
dangerous to
Well,
not
no,
be
I
all
agree
in.
with that, obviously. And I think the other thing I personally, along the analogy of time, is
I would love to just walk up on stage and go, all right, put your wallets on this table. Let's see how much money you have. Why is that not in Bitcoin?
the only thing that I ever exchange my Bitcoin for is if it is in exchange for my time.
Hodl.
And that's
Hodl,
how
everyone.
I think about
Don't take
trading
money out
Bitcoin.
of the
I don't
scheme.
think about speculating on the price. I don't have a Zillow tab open on my laptop.
So this is important
I
for a
only
financial
think about
scam.
The only thing as scarce and as valuable to me is my life. And so if I ever need heart surgery, or if there's ever anything that's so valuable,
I'm sure his heart surgeon is going to be
Yeah.
taking crypto.
So there's this is what the scheme is worried about. They try to maximize the amount flowing in and minimize the amount flowing out. So it's important to espouse this value of I never sell my Bitcoin. I only hodl, because they do not want liquidity leaving the system, because that means there's less liquidity
Right.
for them.
And this is just over the top. Look, even if you believe in Bitcoin and crypto and blockchain, and you actually have drank that Kool-Aid and you love the technology and you believe in it, you gotta just wonder, this is way beyond being reasonable. I mean, even if, if there's a technology that you believe in, there's still other technologies that you need to run your daily life, and you need to allocate those resources towards it. These people are saying basically, forget about your regular life and just put everything into Bitcoin.
Become a Bitcoin monk.
This is literally, Bitcoin monk. You're right. That's a great characterization.
to my time. That was the only way I would ever exchange sats. Other than that, just based on its definitive scarcity, it's probably a scam. So it's really simple when you put it like that, and it's an easier way to think about it, in my opinion.
They're all like little golems
Damn right.
chasing the ring.
Now you applaud.
I mean, on that note, we are running out of time here. Before we wrap, I want to thank everyone who made this conference possible.
Did we fucking
I
get
know
through
you
this
guys,
whole thing? Holy
it's
shit.
very hard to realize
What did they really
what kind
say?
of work and effort goes into this.
What did they say?
Hodl.
But there are hundreds of people
Buy
that
more
made
Bitcoin.
This,
Not
this
just buy
event
more,
possible.
own
There's
everything.
Hundreds of people
Buy everything.
from our team
Sell
at Bitcoin
all your
Magazine,
possessions to buy Bitcoin.
to the camera crew, to the audio guys, everybody around here.
Fear of missing out.
Put so much blood, sweat, and tears
We can do an analysis
to
after.
make this event happen. I hope you guys truly enjoyed it. I hope
we
you really
did. Thank you.
appreciated it. I hope you join us
So
back
much.
in Nashville next year.
Definitely.
I hope you truly appreciate the scarcity of Bitcoin and the scarcity of your time. And I want to have a huge round of applause for our wonderful guests and these two founders over here. Thank you
Wow,
guys.
we fucking made it. I cannot believe we
Bitcoiners.
Hold on.
shit.
Hold on. No. Go back to the beginning of the analysis. When they introduce they do like the intro from the segment here, like after the segment is done, after this panel is done. Will they call this talk profound, inspiring? They always have some adjective for the talk. So if you go to the
I don't have that
the
because
four
this is the single edited version of just a talk.
Yeah, but they have the 4 talking heads talk after. What
Yeah,
are they
but I
gonna
don't have
say?
that queued up, so I can't do that.
Oh, it doesn't play automatically after?
No, it's not. No.
But they were just there. You just had it there.
Did I?
Yeah.
No,
Go back to the
no.
bar-
I didn't.
bar at the
It
bottom.
went back to the beginning. It did
Okay.
because we're watching
Okay.
a video clip that I downloaded. I'm not watching it online.
Gotcha.
All right, so
All right. I was
we
confused.
actually fucking made it through the whole thing.
All right.
I
so
cannot
can
believe that, and we're at 1 hour exactly.
Okay. So what did I miss? We had them say, we're at peak whole coiner, so FOMO. So you're going to miss out. Buy Bitcoin because the risk is if you don't buy Bitcoin, you're not going to be rich. You're going to have fun staying poor. Then the next thing was hodl. And then sell all your worldly possessions and become a Bitcoin
Yeah, it
monk.
was all buy, and it was all different ways. It reminded me of like watching, what's the guy, the televangelist, Jim Baker, going on TV talking about how you needed to buy more freeze-dried shit because for the preppers, I know you might think you have 90 days worth of food, but maybe you need 240 days worth of food.
To be fair, that's, more practical advice than buy Bitcoin if you truly believe in the apocalypse.
Yeah, well, at least you end up with some, some really shitty freeze-dried food that you can still eat. Yes.
Dried mango is pretty good.
Okay.
So there's that.
Wow. I cannot. I would have never put money that we'd actually survive that. I thought we'd have been like, "Fuck this shit, we're out of here." Well, I picked this one instead of the Robert Kennedy thing. I don't think.
There wasn't a lot that's that interesting about that video. It's the typical propaganda that we always see. It is interesting that they've moved away from calling out specific prices of, hey, Bitcoin is going to be at $1 million. They shied away from that. And instead what they're doing is they're focusing on things like Bitcoin is scarce. It's naturally scarce. It's definitively scarce. It's digitally scarce. So therefore it's worth a lot of money, or it will be in the future.
All right, so we're done, but let's give people a little taste of this preview. What do you think?
Sure.
That I'm working on. All right, I'm gonna.
Let's do it.
I gotta say, it's the only thing that keeps me sane, that keeps me doing this, is I love watching this thing over and over. People will probably just watch it halfway through. Feel free to stop, but I'm going to play what I've put together from the conference so far. Did you see version 1 or version 2?
I watched both.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is a 5-minute video. And this is only like 1/3 of day 1 of the bullshit that people had to deal with. So here's a sneak preview of what's coming up when I release my highlight reel from this. You guys ready? This is going to be good.
Good morning, Miami. Good morning, everyone. I'm Pete Rizzo, editor of Bitcoin Magazine. We're here at the Bitcoin Magazine live desk presented by Marathon, and it's opening day at Bitcoin 2023. Thousands of people are descending on Miami, Florida. Hundreds of vendors. We've got hodlers. We've got celebrities. We've got the car from Back to the Future.
Mining FUD.
Christmas lights, hot tubs, the cloud, Netflix.
Exchange collapses.
SEC, CFTC, ground turf wars.
Criminal activity.
Exchange collapses.
Terrorist activity.
Mining FUD. And you'll even get to watch some wizards debate the dreaded O word.
Ordinals.
By the way, Sal, if you want to comment, feel free. I'll pause it.
The wall of money.
And just keep my family under control and tell them everything's all fine.
Bitcoin's on sale and for this crypto technology, which most of it turned out to be smoke and mirrors.
And we're getting closer to what Bitcoin actually
wait. Go back.
They feel the pain
Go
of the
back
problem,
to that guy's
but
t-shirt.
they don't yet understand the solution.
Can I see that? Can I see that one more time? I didn't notice that before.
There's a lot of good shit in here, and we just passed my favorite part in the whole video. What T-shirt are you looking at? Oh, that right there, the Statue of Liberty.
It's a Statue of Liberty with laser eyes holding an AR-15.
I didn't see that either.
That's maybe the most American thing I've ever seen. Wow, that's awesome.
There's multiple levels here, people. You gotta watch this.
Are they bleeding from their face? What is going on there?
Yeah, it's weird. It's completely bizarre. Right after this is my favorite part where he talks about people in the basement. I just love it. I laugh every time, even though I've seen it a dozen times.
Crypto technology, which most of it turned out to be smoke and mirrors.
And we're getting closer to what Bitcoin actually is. Some guy in a hoodie in his mom's basement.
I'm sorry.
Some guy in a hoodie in his mom's basement.
Yeah, that cracks me up every fucking time.
I mean, half of their panelists are in hoodies, so.
They feel the pain of the problem, but they don't yet understand the solution.
Bitcoin is for your enemies.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are being used for criminal activity.
This is great because this clip, I completely flip around what she's trying to say, but I take her own words. It's so easy to take what she says. This is Senator Loomis.
Mm-hmm.
Or as Jackie said, Senator Shameless.
Yeah.
It's so easy to take her words and just slightly move them out of context to make them be completely different. She's such fodder for this kind of shit.
Bitcoin is for people that just want to get rich quick.
The industry is a joke, right?
In this sort of cultish type, scammers are going to scam. It's just what it is.
Look at Bitcoin as like old technology. It's a dumb, slow rock, can't do anything. However, now we're seeing that it can do everything. It can do exactly what these other platforms promise to do.
No confirmation on that.
Well, no confirmation.
Everything that they've thought about Bitcoin as opposed to crypto is wrong.
And somehow, Bitcoin's still not dead.
Activity. For those joining on the live stream, the audience is booing.
All of those startups that are creating things we can't even imagine.
Christmas lights, hot tubs, the cloud, Netflix.
That's really, to me, is one of the greatest little clips. Christmas lights, hot tubs, the cloud, Netflix. That should be a meme right there. It's just too fucking good.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Terrorist activity.
Exchange collapses.
And when you see what's happening in some of these different spaces,
Ordinals. And I'm gonna wear the fuck out of that clip. Ordinals. Is that guy doing all those? It was an early day at work until he discovered. It's like a fucking movie trailer guy.
Criminal activity.
Why does he?
Was Holmes, the Theranos CEO, but the male version.
Yeah, he's really kind of creepy. Ordinals. Just love that clip.
Man,
it's just so dramatic.
Criminal activity.
Mining FUD.
I want to make there needs to be a video of him ordering like a Big Mac at the drive-thru. I'd like a Big Mac with extra cheese.
For the life of me, I can't believe more people, more VC, more money isn't competing in this space.
We're at the Bitcoin conference and Bitcoin doesn't work.
I wish more people could see what I see.
Tucker Carlson being kicked off Fox, I mean, who knows really what happened there, but
For the most part, if you actually want to use social media today, you have to watch your words, which is preposterous to me.
You know, to be cancelled is very dangerous, it's very difficult, and it's just something that you don't want. It causes a lot of hassle in your life.
Of all the 140,000 tweets I've put out there, the one I got banned for was "Okay, dude."
All right, so I'm going to throw something up on the screen when during this part. This "okay, dude" thing, you know, there's a lot more context to that tweet and why it's so offensive. But if you just hear that, you won't know that. Same thing with this next clip where the girl talks about things.
I, for example, had an interview with Robert Kiyosaki taken down from YouTube because they didn't like what he said about vaccines and elections.
And again, what he said about vaccines and elections was horrible, ignorant, inaccurate misinformation that would hurt the public, which is perfectly reasonable.
Can I guess what he said?
Yeah, you can guess. We all kind of know what it was.
The COVID vaccine is a lie. It doesn't work. And Biden stole the election from Trump.
I actually have a clip of one of his tweets on vaccines, and I'm not going to put it up right now, but watch the video. I'm going to put it up because this batshit crazy asshole that she interviewed was actively spreading information that really would hurt people. And again, you know, she says you can't post anything. You can't say anything on the internet. No, it's not just anything. You can't say stuff that causes unnecessary harm, that hurts other people. If you spread a lie that is absolutely a lie, like the election was rigged or that the vaccine doesn't work or it kills people, yes, absolutely. Anybody in their fucking mind should not allow that shit to be propagated. And also, these are these freedom people, right? They want freedom, freedom, freedom. Well, guess what? YouTube... corporations are people, right? You know, so if corporations don't want to fucking propagate your bullshit, they don't have to. Don't get mad at the world because of that.
But that's anti-freedom, because if I benefit financially, then that's my freedom. I should be able to do that no matter what I say. I should be able to grow my following with lies and misinformation.
This is malignant narcissism in action, right? People that believe that their freedom should never be infringed. If anybody else's freedom that infringes on their freedom is invalid, you know, whether it's the freedom that YouTube might want to exercise in not allowing toxic content to spread on their platform, which might cause them to lose advertisers or to get in trouble for spreading misinformation. That's bad. See, this is the kind of shit that just sets me off. And then for the next day and a half, I look at everybody I come into contact like, go ahead, fuck with me. I dare you.
You can't say anything on the internet right now, and it's truly unbelievable.
Quick apology to the viewers out there. Our live stream was abruptly cut on YouTube, ironically, during a conversation about censorship.
Again, I can't make this shit up. It was it's like a comedy thing. It just falls into place.
On YouTube, we're fixing the problems.
And I know everybody's extremely excited about Elon Musk now that he's, you know, taken over Twitter. Adoption comes out of desperation. That's how I see the future go.
This is a great
adoption comes out of desperation.
Again, this is one of those things people are going to gloss over. They're not going to pay any attention to, and it's fucking meta as fuck. Watch.
But if
desperation.
Watch the clip following this.
That's how I see the future going.
The most lukewarm.
Both the right, which we've been more accustomed to.
But also like that is part of the playbook, right? I mean, a lot of these nut jobs do want to destroy the government. They do want to destroy as much as possible.
Well, they just want to replace one power structure with another power structure that's even more totalitarian.
That hopefully benefits them more.
Right. People just need to study empathy and narcissism and sociopathy and that kind of stuff and inoculate yourself against these crazies.
A lot of these
throwing politics and history,
right? Not because they really believe in it.
Why shouldn't every piece of content ever posted, a reply, a post, have the opportunity for a payment?
And so
that dude, every time I see him, I think Fast and Furious, you know, just Is that his pants, or is that a
cod piece?
Or maybe like a what do you call it? The little
I think they're
bag
just
around his waist.
ill-fitting pants.
Like weird leather vinyl. I mean, didn't that shit go out of style at least 10 years ago? I don't get it, And he's got the tattoos on the arms where I guess he puts his arms together and it's totally this one tattoo or something. I don't know. I know we're not supposed to make fun of people based on their appearances, but he's like
he has a gold chain. Do you think he's a gold maxi also?
I don't know.
Apply a post, have the opportunity for a payment.
And so you have like 13-year-olds just like throwing away $100 because they don't really understand what they're doing.
And unfortunately, we do have some people that are pushing that Bitcoin is bad for the environment or that it's not clean.
Now watch this dude. Okay, I liked it. I'm not gonna do a reaction video to this video when it's released. So this may be the only shit you get, but this is another example, very kind of dog whistled, that these fuckers are nuts. Watch.
Energy or whatever. And I just want to say to that, and I want to look in the camera and say it, please do not fall for the climate change psyop.
So the climate change psyop, remember that. And all this climate change thing is like fucking with your head. It's just the government fucking with you.
Whatever the hell these environmentalists say.
Politicians. What's funny is the place that they're doing the conference in is going to be underwater.
That's why they're moving to Nashville. Or
is that I would assume it's because they're not getting tax breaks anymore or something like that.
While anti-Bitcoin politicians
they've used up the fucking mayor of Miami, and he's pretty soon going to be like, fuck this. My salary's not coming out any good anymore.
opt for a more totalitarian approach and take their policy lessons from China are in decline.
Bitcoin mining is actually better for the environment than the current systems that we have in place.
Again, just more absurd, just begging the question fallacies over and over, making these statements that are absolutely not based on evidence.
And really hopping on that anti-China bandwagon.
Coming up next, we have the Indonesia Bitcoin mining campaign with Ridwan Kamil, the governor of West Java. This is a population of 50 million people.
So the interesting thing is...
Now, this first clip that comes, now this is a little segment where I feature this governor from Indonesia. And the clip that you're going to see right here was the very end of the presentation, but I put it at the very beginning because it's really fucking important. They bring this guy on to talk about how Indonesia is going to embrace Bitcoin, right? But there's one minor little problem, which you're going to find right here. Listen.
In Indonesia, Bitcoin payments are actually prohibited.
You don't find that out until the very end of the presentation. They bring him out as his champion that's going to be bringing Bitcoin mining to Indonesia, and you find out that Bitcoin is basically banned in Indonesia.
My biggest achievement, I have 20.2 million followers in my Instagram account.
And again, he asked him what his biggest achievement was. That was what it is. I don't know if it'll translate, if people will get how absurd this is from my little snippets, but you really don't want to listen to the whole thing.
So it's not like he's helped reduce poverty.
That's his biggest achievement. 20.2 million followers on Instagram.
It's not he's increased the literacy level in whatever territory he governs. He has 20 million followers on Instagram. That tells you the kind of person.
Not feeding my people, not improving my water. 20.2 million followers on Instagram.
I mean, but yeah, it is telling. It does tell you what kind of person this is.
It does, yes.
Bitcoin allows for the transformation of money into energy.
This dude that, again, this is the only time you're going to see this commentary. I'm not going to comment on it anywhere else. But this dude screwed up everything. And you're going to see in the next segment, he screwed it up even worse.
I want to watch this one now.
Bitcoin transfers money into energy. He actually meant energy into money, right? But he screwed that up. And then I don't know if you saw this, you probably didn't even realize how fucked up what he just said. Listen to this next segment.
Currently, digital
After this.
payment in Indonesia is everywhere. I'm paying everything with my e-wallet, but not yet to Bitcoin.
right? So e-payment is everywhere. It all works, but not fucking Bitcoin. So what's the fucking point? You almost you have to slow all this shit down to really. But now watch the next segment.
So Bitcoin appreciates roughly 60% a year median, and by 2023, that's very conservative too. By 2023, Bitcoin should be about 2.9 or 3 million.
Did you hear that?
By 2023, Bitcoin should be. What year did you say again?
2023.
It's going to be how much?
2.9 million.
And he's saying that in 2023.
Yes.
What is this guy's name? What is his name again? I have to look up this guy.
I'm pretty sure he meant to say
something?
2033, but he flubbed and said 2023.
Okay. Is this a Bitcoin Cash guy? Who is this?
He's just another fucking Bitcoin guy.
What's his name? What's his name? Go back.
Oh
fuck it. We can just watch. We can just watch the end. I'll find it out.
Yeah, look, if you want to, there's just too much absurdity in this. But yeah, he meant to say 2033.
We could do a 1 hour video just on this clip segment you put together.
Wildly exciting. I can't even imagine some of the other things, the use cases.
Christmas lights, hot tubs, the cloud, Netflix.
I'm sorry, I love that. I'm going to use that over and over.
The Christmas lights. What is it? The cloud.
Christmas lights, hot tubs, the cloud, Netflix. I want to make a T-shirt that says that. Christmas lights.
That should be a flare. That should be a flare for posts on Buttcoin.
I'm telling you, man. We need to. We'll make T-shirts. We got to find a good charity. We need to find somebody who could print up the shirts at a fair price, and we can donate all the money to like the compulsive gambling hotline or something like that.
Yeah.
Where you could wear this T-shirt that says Christmas lights, the cloud, gambling. It's fucking hilarious.
Exchange collapses.
Criminal activity.
What exactly is the revenue model? Where exactly is the money coming from?
Terrorist activity.
We don't want to break our leg in the beginning of an incredibly important race towards innovation.
This is I haven't done anything here. So Senator Loomis from Wisconsin, Wyoming. I can't remember. I've had too much wine. She gets the biggest applause. Centralized government authority coming out just because she's into Bitcoin. And then, of course, I had to clip something else she said immediately following this.
People just don't trust the government anymore. And
So people don't trust the government anymore, and she's out there. And I have a big fucking problem with government officials saying people don't trust the government.
But you know what? But hold on. You can take that as she's just saying what people think. She could just be saying that's what people think. People
But she's in government trying to tell you, I'm not part of government. Trust me. Which is bullshit.
The reason the people don't trust politicians and government is because they take bribes and then they pass policy that's contrary to the interests of the public. And instead,
well, that's more sophisticated than your typical person is thinking, though, I think.
So that's why they say they're corrupt. And this is a person who's accepting bribes from the crypto lobby.
Well, and that's enumerated in the next clip right here.
Dedicated your career to fighting for the people. And now you're fighting for Bitcoin.
Sorry, I love that one too. You've dedicated your career to fighting for the people, and now you're fighting for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because I equate those as two different things.
Yeah, those are all contrary interests.
And now, instead of fighting for people, you're fighting for Bitcoin. So there's a lot of like deep shit in here that you have to pay attention to. Maybe people won't get it. I don't know.
When I was practicing law, I represented mining companies and oil and gas companies. And so the concept of mining came naturally.
Yeah, I wrote a book to try to help people.
You take something centralized, and then you don't do that. How complicated could it be?
Yeah, guys. Hey, distributed computing is super simple, guys. It's super simple.
Just don't do that. You know what I mean?
Don't do that. Yeah.
Write a program to do crime, and then don't do that. Now you've got fucking lawfulness.
Oh my God.
So that's phenomenal. As far as I've gotten. And I'm telling you, dude, I have some shit let me see if I can. Is anybody still watching? Probably not. But
No, they left hours ago.
look, can I drag this over there? I'm going to show you and anybody else who's watching. Can I do this?
To our 3 other viewers, thank you for joining us.
So this is basically what I'm dealing with when I'm editing all this stuff, right? So this is this is just day 1. This is the timeline of all the clips of all the time I'm going through trying to cut out stuff. So this, you can see where I've kind of stopped, and then this is just day 1. I haven't even gotten to all of this stuff yet. And this is the stuff that I've clipped out, and then I cut it into different spots. So this is the sequence that you guys just saw here of clips, and I keep moving them around and adding stuff. And then I have these other clips that represent thematic stuff that I want to do.
You know what I would love to see someone do a remix of made from all the clips from the Crypto 2023 conference.
Well,
a little music, set it to music.
We're gonna do something on this, right? This is just the jingoistic cliches, just to give you a taste of what we're doing. I don't know if you can hear that.
Not crypto. Vastly different.
My family's generational wealth. Bitcoin is the first scarce asset we've seen.
Whatever is your value, there is a reason why Bitcoin actually helps you and fixes the current system and the current regime that we
Yeah, I guess the audio level's really low, right?
Yeah, you can barely hear it, but
yeah. So again, there's a lot of work that comes into it, but like,
well, I for one appreciate all of your hard work and effort.
Thanks, Sal.
And I was about to sell
a lot of fucking
everything.
work, dude.
I was about to sell everything and invest into Bitcoin, but I saw your video and I didn't do that.
You know what, Sal? That you and everybody else just needs. Look, I know you're probably thinking you might need to have a snack, in the afternoon. Do you really need to eat lunch? Think about the value if you, instead of having lunch, just send us some money. Yeah, send us some money, and we promise we will send you back money in the future at some point that is non-specific.
Well, I just ate 3 slices of chocolate cake yesterday, so I definitely don't need lunch.
All right, well, just send us money, and we'll give it back to you at some point in the future.
Pledge, donations of large sums of money, I think, is what we want to say.
Yeah. So there we have it. We actually, this is a long episode, but it was fun. It was, and you know what? I really feel like there's not a whole lot of editing. You can see I'm up to my eyeballs in editing already. I don't want to do any more editing.
And up to your eyeballs in Cabernet.
Not yet. I'm working on it. Well, no, maybe I am slightly up to it, but anyway, what do you think? Is that a good point to end it?
I think that was great. Thanks for watching, everyone. As usual, if there's any videos you want us to comment on, to go over, please send them to us. Email us at contact@ioradio.org.
And also, we're still looking for some crypto bros that are willing to debate us on a show. We will afford you the respect that you afford us.
It could also, it doesn't have to necessarily be a debate unless we want to have a premise for the debate and we want to have an actual debate. We could just have a conversation. Whatever. Yeah. We could have a hangout.
Yeah.
Come and show your latest crypto coin.
Convince us that we're wrong. I am open-minded. I am absolutely open-minded. I just don't want to hear the same 17 talking points I've heard already. That's all.
All right.
So there you have it, folks. If you have actually listened this long, you'll get a special medallion that looks like a Purple Heart. Just check your mailbox. It'll be coming right after the next halvening.
Well, it should be a digital token, shouldn't it?
Well,
an NFT.
It'll be a real thing. Trust us. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.